Welcome to the Human Design Ray Festival 2025.
Comes and go all day long. What can I trust and what I cannot trust in my own self? So as I said to you, I come from the linguistic backgrounds. And I don't know if you have heard about Mark Halliday, but he is a very important linguist that brought many contributions to the understanding of languages in the world. And he brought linguistics to a range of sociology. And to him, language is doing rather than knowing. So that's what I'm trying to say. From the moment I start speaking to now, you know, the inner authority, I can speak for myself, my inner emotional authority has an emotional language, but is in doing the breathing, in doing the breathing that by consequence brings the synthesis of the wave to the body, to the vehicle. That's the language I, Méris, would like to speak. I must confess that it gets really entangled when it's too much from the mind, describing human design and how I feel in the experiment. It's there in the mind. However, as even the linguistic people in the world have already seen, there is a language that is doing. So through the years, I began to think of the cell, the molecule, and the atomics. So if we have that construction, our cell has molecules that have atomics. So we have an atomic body. So over the last 5 years, I look human design bodygraph like if it was our atomic body. And then, by consequence, we can bring to our imagination that there is an atomic language between ourselves. Let's say we have there the electromagnetic, we have the companionships, we have the compromises, we have the educational connections, but it's always it's an atomic language, is the language of human design. So the more I see human designs, the readings and in the teaching, because when I teach human design, the participants, I apply all the content to their designs. So I, even during the class, I look into my students' designs. So the more I see human designs, the more I see nothing happens outside the will. The more I watch the neutrino weather, the more I see nothing happens outside the will. But because the will has a real job to generate life as we go along through the cycles, through the global conditioning sequence of how we walk in the planet to get fed and to love. But wait a moment, nothing happens outside the will. Yet the unique and real perception is not a rationalizing process. It is a cognitive potential, unique design and neutrinos. I mean, there is a big gap for the newcomer to process and observe all of this before the person can look into what I call your atomic body. And so in my view, the educational part, and I'm not meaning about the channels, I mean about the base, the foundation of the knowledge. It's something really without precedent, unprecedented in the world. And we have the geometry with this. But as Ra himself said, 4% of the humanity is in this geometry. So I have witnessed human design arrives to where it is correct. Now, 19 years of human design, so I have gone through all the nodal configurations of the mandala. So one sees in the environment over the cycles, over the years, the difficulty of the connection of the being with the human design, with the original human design. Because if you say to somebody, look, you are living in the times that you wake up every morning with a 9-centered cognitive architecture, that you can check your own self, you can see it. Well, there is a big gap, a linguistic gap between the not knowing up to the knowing, but knowing the language by not the knowledge, but in the doing, like we had here our colleague Holiday pointing that language is doing. It goes really, it fits very well with the design, since we know human design only happens when we are living our designs. And that for that, we don't need many more. We don't need explanations of any kind. So, how is the 9th-century being designed to experience potential consciousness through fear, if fear is the root of our perception? How are you, according to your design, designed to experience potential consciousness through fear? And I'm talking about this language of doing. I'm not talking about what your mind say to you or my mind say to myself. I'm talking about the language of doing, because the language of doing includes extra strategy and inner authority. It's a new language that Ra came to announce. So, fear as root of our perception. And if we look from the point of view of the circuits, we can easily understand and see it makes sense that we are always flowing between the mental, the existential, and the emotional fears. The gate, the centers of consciousness, doesn't matter if it is defined or not defined. For the purpose I want to talk now, because if you have a center or the 3 centers of consciousness defined, you have a consistent way to access to consciousness. If you have the 3 of them open, doesn't mean you don't have it anymore. It means that each one of them function in a non-consistent way, but is there. And that design, you cannot just wipe out. I have heard comments that, it's not, of psychologists saying, it's not the point to talk about the open centers. What? that's where the person lives. And you're going to show the language, and the person identifies herself. So fear, the word fear, the description of it is very unique for each person. For example, I am a generator, emotional 6-2 generator from the cross of identification. The fears that I have activated in my design, I put in black, okay? So in my splenic center, where I deal with existential fears, I've got 3 gates, most of them unconscious from the design. So I don't really know what to fear in the now. However, the moment that the neutrino stream comes through, the moment that somebody activates my splenic center, I begin to live the movie of security for me, because security, feeling safe for me is a movie. I am designed to feel existential fear in a non-consistent way. Well, this is, how does it happen in this design? Well, it happens in a design of a generator, an emotional generator that is here in the duality to identify where to focus their skills, where there is doubt or impasse, and find mental stability knowing that there are resources to alleviate and resolve them. It took a long time, but one day I woke up and I really understood that. And what happened? Can you imagine Méris in a homogenized mode, always worried about the resources? How can I resolve this for you? Because it's very tribal involvement here. So very much involved with focusing my skills where there is doubt or impasse. Basically, over the years, I definitely got into it as a not self, and obviously end up very frustrated. As human design comes to my life, and I begin to really go through every day, bringing the experiment, trusting the process, really, with a long time. Then one day I wake up and I begin to talk this language of doing. And that is a different kind of communication. And that taught me so much about dealing with the fears that most of the time now, when my mind or my ajna or my solar plexus or my spleen are bringing all these fears, I understand their place